Fortaleza, Brazil, August 2005. Beneath the bustling streets of one of Brazil's largest cities, a tunnel stretches silently in the dark, 250 feet of hand-dug earth, leading straight to the vault of the Central Bank of Brazil. When bank employees opened the vault on Monday morning, they discovered something almost incomprehensible. Approximately 160 million Brazilian reais, the equivalent of roughly 70 million US dollars, had vanished without triggering a single alarm. No windows were broken. No doors were forced. The thieves had come from below, burrowing through rock and clay to execute what would be recognized as one of the largest bank burglaries in history. The operation was allegedly orchestrated by a group of individuals with ties to organized crime in Brazil. Among the key figures investigators would eventually identify was Antonio Jusivan Alves dos Santos, reportedly known by the nickname Toninho. The cover story was elegant in its simplicity. A landscaping business would naturally receive deliveries, generate noise, and produce large amounts of dirt, all without raising suspicion from neighbors or passers-by. According to investigators, the gang reportedly included individuals with expertise in engineering and excavation. Some members allegedly had prior criminal records, while others appeared to be ordinary citizens drawn into the scheme by the promise of an extraordinary payday. What made this crew remarkable was their patience. For approximately 3 months, they reportedly worked in shifts, digging around the clock beneath the streets of Fortaleza, moving tons of earth through the rented property without attracting attention. The members reportedly maintained normal routines, going to work, socializing, living ordinary lives. To the outside world, nothing about them suggested they were engineering one of the most audacious crimes in Brazilian history. The tunnel began in the basement of the rented property, located on Rua 25 de Março in central Fortaleza. From there, it ran approximately 78 meters, roughly 256 feet, beneath city streets directly to the bank's underground vault. The tunnel was no crude passageway. Investigators discovered it was reinforced with wooden supports, equipped with electric lighting, and even fitted with an air conditioning system to keep workers cool in the tropical underground heat. The excavated dirt was reportedly disguised and removed, using the landscaping business as cover. Trucks carrying soil away would have appeared completely normal for a company that sold grass and garden supplies. The vault itself belonged to the Fortaleza branch of the Banco Central do Brasil, Brazil's central bank. It held used banknotes that had been taken out of circulation and were awaiting inspection or destruction. Because of this, the serial numbers had not been individually recorded. Over the weekend of August 6th and 7th, 2005, the gang allegedly breached the vault floor from below. They reportedly cut through over a meter of steel-reinforced concrete to access the chamber above. They reportedly used 5 large containers to haul the cash back through the tunnel. The weight of the stolen money alone was estimated at approximately 3.5 tons, roughly the weight of 2 mid-sized cars. By Monday morning, when bank employees arrived and opened the vault, the money was gone. The tunnel entrance inside the vault had been covered with material to delay its discovery. It was a clean getaway, or so the thieves believed. The discovery sent shockwaves through Brazil. At the time, it was recognized as the largest bank robbery in the country's history, and one of the biggest in the world. The audacity of the crime captivated the nation. Brazilian federal police launched an immediate and massive investigation. The tunnel itself became the first and most valuable piece of evidence, a physical monument to the planning and labor that had gone into the crime. Investigators traced the tunnel back to the rented property and the fake landscaping business. Records showed the lease had been signed months before the heist, immediately giving detectives a trail to follow. The sheer engineering of the tunnel suggested professional involvement. Federal police reportedly consulted with construction experts who estimated the dig would have required significant manpower, specialized tools, and technical knowledge of soil mechanics. One of the gang's critical vulnerabilities was the money itself. Despite the unrecorded serial numbers, spending tens of millions of reais in a region where such wealth was conspicuous proved nearly impossible to do quietly. Within weeks of the heist, investigators reportedly began receiving tips. Some suspects allegedly started purchasing properties, expensive vehicles, and luxury items, spending patterns that stood out dramatically against their previous lifestyles. Financial intelligence units began tracking unusual cash deposits and money movements across the northeast of Brazil. The pattern was unmistakable, a sudden surge of unexplained wealth radiating outward from Fortaleza. Piece by piece, federal police assembled a picture of the conspiracy. Phone records, property transactions, vehicle purchases, and witness statements began to connect individuals to the rented storefront and to each other. The arrests began in the weeks and months following the heist. Federal police reportedly detained suspects across multiple Brazilian states, dismantling the network one member at a time. When investigators searched properties connected to suspects, they reportedly recovered significant portions of the stolen money, sometimes hidden in walls, buried on properties, or stashed in vehicles. However, the majority of the stolen funds were never recovered. Investigators believe much of the money was laundered through property purchases, businesses, and possibly moved across state and international borders. Antonio Rucivan Alves dos Santos, alleged to be a central figure in the operation, was among those detained. According to reports, he was apprehended while in possession of a substantial amount of cash and luxury assets. Over the course of the investigation, approximately 25 individuals were reportedly identified as suspects. Some cooperated with authorities, while others denied any involvement whatsoever. The case also exposed uncomfortable questions about bank security. How had such an elaborate tunnel been dug so close to a central bank vault without any detection systems being triggered? The investigation would probe not just the criminals, but the institution itself. The legal proceedings were complex and drawn out, involving multiple defendants across separate trials. Brazilian courts faced the challenge of prosecuting a case that involved dozens of suspects and an unprecedented amount of stolen currency. Several of the accused were convicted and received significant prison sentences. Antonio Rucivan Alves dos Santos was reportedly among those found guilty and sentenced to a lengthy term of imprisonment. The trials revealed the full scope of the planning. Testimony and evidence presented in court detailed the months of preparation, the engineering challenge overcome, and the network of individuals who allegedly played various roles in the operation. Some defendants received reduced sentences in exchange for cooperation with investigators. Their testimony reportedly helped authorities understand how the money was distributed and laundered after the heist. The case continued to produce legal proceedings for years after the initial arrests. Appeals, additional charges, and new evidence meant the judicial process extended well into the following decade. Despite the convictions, the ultimate question lingered. Where was the rest of the money? Only a fraction of the roughly 160 million reais was ever officially recovered, making the Banco Central burglary one of the most financially successful heists in criminal history. The Banco Central burglary transformed banking security in Brazil. In the aftermath, the central bank and other financial institutions reportedly implemented significant upgrades to vault monitoring, including seismic sensors and ground-penetrating surveillance technology. The crime captured the Brazilian imagination and became embedded in popular culture. Books, documentaries, and dramatizations have retold the story of how a group of ordinary individuals attempted the extraordinary and very nearly got away with it. For Fortaleza, the heist left a complicated legacy. It brought international attention to the city, but for reasons no one wanted. It also raised broader questions about institutional oversight and the vulnerabilities within Brazil's financial infrastructure. The case also highlighted the persistent challenge of money laundering in Latin America. Investigators found that stolen funds had allegedly been funneled through real estate, vehicles, and various business enterprises, demonstrating how criminal proceeds can disappear into legitimate economies. Nearly 2 decades later, the Banco Central burglary endures as a testament to criminal ingenuity and as a reminder that no vault is truly impenetrable. The tunnel beneath Fortaleza proved that patience, planning, and audacity could breach even a nation's central bank. Of the roughly 160 million reais stolen that weekend in August 2005, the majority has never been recovered. Somewhere in Brazil, the fortune from the world's greatest tunnel heist may still be waiting. A new case drops every day. Subscribe so you never miss one.